Hello students, welcome back to Daily Current Affairs of 15th of July. These are the important topics for today. So our first important topic is about standard operating procedures for the court timings in India. Next article is related to paraquat herbicide. So recently the central government of India have put a nationwide ban on this herbicide. Next important concept is about trial in absentia. So this we shall be discussing what this is. Next will be about the India-UK trade deal. So because of the significance of this deal, we are telling that it is a gold standard. Now coming to next article, that is index of services production. So based on index of industrial production, now we have index of services production also, and this would be the inaugural index. That means this would be the first index. So let's start our discussion. So our first article is about standard operating procedures related to court timings in India. So recently what Supreme Court has said that consider a situation, for example, you are detained illegally by the police at around 11:30 p.m. in night. You are illegally detained by the police at that time. Now immediately what your family would do? Your family would try to communicate, would try to contact the local lawyer, right? But even after contacting the local lawyer, the court time, these are not court timings, right? The court is still closed. Now if you wait for the court to open, by that time you could have been transferred to any other place. So because of that, your constitutional right to life under Article 21 will be violated. That's why recently Supreme Court has said that like there are emergency services in hospitals, like the police stations are working 24/7, in the similar manner court timings must also be available 24/7, so that if there is any case which is involving the right to life, where there is violation of right to life under Article 21, then we can provide the immediate access of the court proceedings to that person. Okay, so let's discuss about the standard operating procedures. So what are these procedures? So these will be uniform set of guidelines which will ensure the consistent and timely response. So if at 11 p.m. or 12 p.m. you need immediate response, and if the court is closed, then also you will be needing the response, right? So these are set of guidelines which will ensure the timely response. So see, what kind of guidelines can be these? First thing, that how to apply for these emergency services. Second thing is who will receive the emergency complaint. Next thing, the person who is receiving emergency complaint, in what time that person has to communicate to the judge. All these things, all these guidelines will be covered under standard operating procedures. Now what kind of cases can be covered? So I already discussed the cases which are involving the right to life and liberty, involving the life and liberty. Like I took the example that if you are detained illegally, or if there are cases of custodial violence, then also it is violation of right to life, right? If your home is being demolished illegally, then also it's violation of right to life. So these are the important cases. Now next article is about paraquat herbicide. So recently Union government have put a ban on this herbicide. Now why the government has to put this ban? Because there were thousands of cases of deaths due to suicides or because of the accidental poisoning. And important thing about paraquat herbicide is that there is no antidote of that herbicide. That means if poisoning has happened, then 99% of the cases it will result in the mortality only. Now quickly let's discuss about paraquat herbicide or paraquat dichloride. So this is a non-selective contact herbicide. Contact herbicide means the herbicide, when the herbicide is sprayed on the plant, so the part of the plant which is in contact with that herbicide, only that part of the plant will die. That's how you consider it as contact herbicide. Next thing is, since this is a herbicide, so it is used to kill the unwanted weed and grasses. So this herbicide is used after you have harvested your crop and you have to clear the agricultural field. So this herbicide is used for that. Now how it kills the plants? So see, if this is a plant and if you are spraying herbicide on that plant, so what this herbicide will do, it will disrupt or stop the process of photosynthesis. So in that way that part of plant will die. So these are some of the important things. Now the thing about herbicide is that this is very fatal. Even the small quantities of herbicide or paraquat have the ability to cause mortality. That's why in many cases it is related to the suicides also. Sometimes it happens because of the accidental poisoning, but sometimes it can lead to, it is used for the suicides also. Now, why it was banned, I already discussed. First thing why it was banned, because it does not have any antidote. So even if the poisoning has happened because of the accident, then also you cannot save that person, right? And this was used for the purpose of suicides also. That's why government has banned this herbicide. Now, if we talk about the regulation of pesticides in India, so all the pesticides in India are regulated under Insecticides Act of 1968. Now, recently government has also introduced Pesticide Management Bill, but still it hasn't become the act. So, at present, pesticides in India are regulated under Insecticides Act of 1968. Now, who regulates the pesticides in India? So, central government will be regulating the pesticides. Now, next coming to a very new concept, that is the trial in absentia. So here, first of all, let's understand. So see why this thing was in news, because trial in absentia is an important part of Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Samhita. That's why today we are discussing about trial in absentia. So see, please understand in this way. For example, you are accused of a bank robbery, and after that police have arrested you. Now police is collecting all the evidences, and after investigation and evidences, police have filed the charge sheet. Now after filing the charge sheet, what will be the next step? After charge sheet, your next step will be your trial will start in the court. Now, before the trial could start, you ran away from the company. You ran away from this country. You ran away to any other country. Now, if we talk under the normal conditions, so trial can only, if we talk about normal conditions, so trial can only start, your trial can only start if you are present in front of the court. But if we talk about trial in absentia, so trial in absentia criteria says that if you ran away from the country willfully, that means you yourself wanted to run away from the country, and this you are doing to evade the justice, then trial in absentia can happen. This means trial can happen even in your absence, so that we can provide justice to the victim. Now, even in this thing, due process of law will be followed. How due process of law? See, it's not like that you are absent, so everything unjust will be happening to you. Even in your absence, first of all, due process will be followed. What will be that due process? First of all, 2 arrest warrants will be issued, because first of all, the court will try that let the trial be under the normal circumstances, so that you are present in front of the court and trials are happening. So first of all, court will try for that only. So first of all, 2 warrants will be issued. After that, notices will be sent to your family members. After that, your photo, your information will be published in the newspapers. On everywhere your information will be published. Why we are doing this? So that you can surrender, or police can arrest you. If police can arrest you, you can be brought in front of the court. Now, even if after all these things you are not surrendering, or if you are not getting arrested, then we will consider that you are willingly evading the country. You are willingly denying the justice. So in that case, what will happen? After 90 days, trial will start in your absence. Now, even in your absence, everything fair will be done. What will happen? See, if you already have a lawyer, that is okay. If you don't have the lawyer of your own, then court will ask any of the state-funded lawyer to represent your interest. And based on the presentation of that lawyer and another party, that is the victim, the court will give some kind of decision. So this is the concept of trial in absentia. Okay, now what is the legal basis of trial in absentia? So this is mentioned under section 356 of Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita 2023. So it allows courts to continue the trial even when the accused is absent, but only under strict conditions. What are those conditions? First thing, you are willingly running away from the country and you are willingly evading the justice. Then only trial in absentia can happen. So, when can trial and absentia can be conducted? The accused has been declared as a proclaimed offender. That means if after 90 days you are not surrendering, then you will be declared as a proclaimed offender, and if the accused have willfully absconded to evade the trial, that means accused have willfully run away from the country to evade the trial, or there is no immediate possibility of arrest. If there is no possibility of arrest, there is no possibility for you to come in the court. Next thing is, what are safeguards available before the trial? I already discussed that arrest warrants will be issued, notices will be issued, all these things will be done. Now, appeal provision. So see, for example, you come back from the country to which you fled. So, and after coming to the country, you think that decision which was given by the court was not fair. So, you can file appeal petition. But to file the appeal petition, what you have to do? You have to appear before the appellate court. So, you cannot file appeal petition just as it is. So, first of all, you have to appear before the appellate court. And an appeal against the conviction is generally barred after 3 years from the date of judgment. So, for example, court has given judgment, and if you come back after 3 years, you cannot file any appellate petition. Now, next thing is about India-UK trade deal. So, India-UK trade deal we already discussed, but important thing is that this is coming into effect from today. This is important. So first of all, let's discuss what are important things regarding India-UK trade deal. So first is the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, that is CETA, and second is Double Contribution Convention. These all things are coming into effect from today. So first of all, let's discuss about CETA, that is Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement. So this is basically a free trade agreement. But why this is so special? Because this trade agreement is not dependent solely on the financial parameters. That means this kind of trade deal is not dependent only on reducing the tariffs. It is also dependent on reducing non-tariff barriers. For example, phytosanitary measures have been relaxed. And it is also involving the promotion of investment. It is also involving the free movement of professionals. That means apart from tariff barriers, apart from reducing tariff barriers, there are other kind of benefits also. Now, next type of thing is the Double Contribution Convention, that is DCC. So for this you must understand in this way. Consider that you are working in India and your company has sent you to UK to work there for around 2 or 3 years. Now, since you belong to India, you are working for Indian company, so here you are doing contribution in EPF. Now, since you are working in UK also, so there also you are contributing to National Insurance Facility. So here what you are doing, you are contributing there also, you are contributing here also. That means twice you are giving the money for Social Security. So to avoid this, we have the Double Contribution Convention. So this is a Social Security agreement, and the objective is to prevent the double payment of Social Security contributions. So here what are the changes? Changes are, if any employee who is working in Indian company, if that employee is working temporarily in UK up to 5 years. So for example, if my company sends me to UK for 3 years or 4 years, then I have to contribute only in EPF. I don't have to contribute into UK's national insurance system. And this is done to avoid double contributions. Now, next article is about the inaugural index of services production. So about this index of services production we already discussed. The news is that this would be the first edition of the index of services production. So first of all, let's discuss what this index is. So we already discussed about index of industrial production, which is focusing on the performance of industries in India, for example, manufacturing industries. So this index of services production would be focusing on growth of India's service sector. Services, for example, banking services, insurance services, tourism services, real estate, all these are the services. So this index would be showing the performance of services sector in India. Now please remember who developed this index. So it was developed by MOSPI, that is Ministry of Statistics. Please remember what is base year of index of services production. It is 2024-25. Now please tell me in the comment section that what is the base year of index of industrial production. Now next will be the coverage, that how many services sector it will cover. So it will cover 19 service subsectors. So 19 service subsectors it will cover. This will account for around 60% of India's services sector. So like if we discuss about the index of industrial production, so it covers around 40% of the industries. Similarly, index of services production covers around 60% of India's service sector. Next thing is the release date. So please remember, index of services production will be released on 29th of every month and on 28th if there is a holiday. Like many indexes in India we discussed, so generally these indices are released with a lag of 2 weeks, but this will be released on 28th or 29th of the month. Now a practice question for you. So please pause the video, please read this question and try to answer in the comment section. So that's all from my side for today. Thank you and have a nice day.